Hello, everyone. My name is Stephen Murray, and I'd like to welcome you to this week's episode of The Gift of Giving. Thank you for joining us today. And even though this program focuses on nonprofits and 501c3s in Nevada, if you're tuning in from out of state, please stay with us because our guest today will have some valuable information to share no matter where you are in America or in the world. She'll have some very important tips. My guest this week is co founder and director of an organization called Literary Solutions in Nevada, based in Minden, Northern Nevada. The organization has a lot of valuable information for those grappling with dyslexia. Welcome to the program, Holly Harvey, and thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome, and thank you for taking the time to share what's a very important and difficult subject for a lot of people grappling with dyslexia. So, your organization provides educational solutions and tutoring. Please give us a brief overview of the organization, what it does, and when it was founded.
Literacy Solutions of Nevada was founded in 2017, and I'm an educator and I work with fellow teachers. And we were challenged to, we were actually taking a class together, and we were challenged to come up with some way that we could change, make some changes, and do things like that. And I realized how passionate I was about dyslexia. My co-founder, Michelle Prather, and I were working together. She was an interventionist and I was the reading specialist at a school. And we started really becoming more interested in dyslexia, mainly because we both have children that had signs.
Okay. So I'm assuming that because your children had signs, that was a catalyst for you starting the foundation, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because there was such a lack of knowledge about what dyslexia really is. And so we went on a mission to find out what that was and share it with other people.
Well, that's a beautiful segue into my next question. I think most people know something about dyslexia, but it's still a little bit of an unknown in certain areas. So, could you share with us your knowledge of dyslexia and share it with our viewers, please?
Certainly. So there's a lot of misconceptions about dyslexia. It is not a sight problem, a vision problem. It is a neuroprocessing issue in the brain. So they don't see the word differently. They see the same word as you see, but when they come to say the word, something happens inside the brain that makes them say a different word, right? Or sometimes when it comes down to letter sounds, they don't process the sounds the same way as other people learn. But they're usually wicked smart people because they learn to read in their own way. Not everybody
Sure.
learns to read by learning the letter sounds and by sounding out. So their brains are different, and that's it. So another reason why we started Literacy Solutions was for that right there. Is most of our dyslexic people and students start realizing that there's something different between them and their schoolmates,
Sure.
and that it's different, and they start to feel like they're stupid, right?
Yes.
There's dumb, something's wrong with me, and they're not. Their
No.
brain is working even harder. So once we started diving into that and understanding that it's a neuroprocessing issue, is where we really started going, oh my goodness, let's look at what are the programs available, what can help, because the brain is so miraculous. The
Yes.
good news is that it can rebuild, and if we catch it soon enough, which is our mission, part of our mission is to educate people into some of the signs so we can catch it soon enough. You can actually reprogram that and help them before it's detrimental, right?
Right. Well, and we're going to go into some of those tips and hints
Yeah.
and knowledge that you've got in the later in the program, because you not only are you giving out information, helping practically, you are a resource center as well. There's a lot of valuable information on your website. Obviously, we'll give out that information later. But can dyslexia be hereditary? Do you know? Has there been
It
research done?
is.
It
It
is
is hereditary. I mean,
Okay.
we ended up going to a class with she's actually a leading expert in dyslexia. Her name is Susan Barton, and she wrote the Barton Reading and Spelling Program. And we went to a week-long class where we learned how to screen for dyslexia. And what she basically talks about is how different programs can retrain those parts of the brain.
Gotcha. Now, could you please share with our viewers what are some of the early warning signs that parents can see? You know, if they've got infants and young children, what signs could indicate that their child might have dyslexia?
Some could be a speech delay, stuttering, articulation, word retrieval is a big one. And this is how we usually can tell dyslexia as well is a lot of times when they're reading, they'll say a word that means the same, but it's not the word that's on the page. So their word retrieval is a little different, and they'll be mixing up multi-syllable words. Like, we've heard kids say, and actually when they're learning to talk, we think, oh my gosh, that's so cute. Biscotti and hopsitle instead of hospital, things like that. And so it actually can come out verbally before they even start reading. And that's what makes it kind of difficult, though, because lots of kids just do that when they're learning to talk, right?
Cool.
And we think it's so cute, but at the end of second grade, it's not cute anymore.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. How has texting now? There's all kinds of abbreviations. Everybody's texting, and there's all these abbreviations, and you've got to figure out. There's a dictionary apparently now with text abbreviations and phrases and things like that. How has that complicated or made things tougher for people who are grappling with dyslexia?
Well, there's two sides of it. On one side, technology has been a huge help, and these are for like our adults that are still struggling and dealing with dyslexia, right? Like Google even has speech to text, and in our phones, speech to text. So you don't even have to spell it. You can just talk in what it wants to say. So there's that. But how it affects our young children is not good. Our cell phones are detrimental because it takes the parents away, the attention away from their child to their phone. And a lot of times parents will hand their phone to their child, like at a restaurant or something like that. And basically the sad part is it's doing away with the vocabulary development, which is so important for those children, which is another one of our things that we'll get to a little bit later.
Okay. And AB 341, that's an assembly bill that was passed. How has that helped?
AB 341 really helped our public school system because what it does is it was actually started and by a grassroots organization of parents that got together of children who had dyslexia. And they went to the legislature because dyslexia was not recognized as a learning disability. So now there's a little checkbox on individualized education plans for students who need those, and you can mark whether it's dyslexia or not. So the state of Nevada was recognizing dyslexia for the first time, and it also requires that schools identify and screen for it, which wasn't necessarily something we did in the past. So It was really great to bring that in. And that actually really brought things to the forefront for me as a reading specialist, because if I'm screening kids, then I better know what I'm looking for. And that's what really spurred me on to also get more education and go attend classes and read books. I brought one of the books that I read about dyslexia that really helps you uncover the different parts of it.
So the AB 341 was a very significant
Yes.
passage. So thank the legislature for actually doing that and accomplishing that. We're going to take a brief sponsorship break. Please stay with us, everyone. We're going to be right back with our special guest, Holly Harvey.
Introducing Pacific Coast Capital, your partner in finance. We provide financing for your business. Speed, flexibility, and creativity are the foundation of our service. We'll help you navigate through change and opportunities. Our 90-plus years of experience ensures quick turnaround on loan decisions. Ride the wave to prosperity with us. Ready for new funding? Visit our website today at pacificcoastcap.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for staying with us. And I'd like to thank our special guest today from Minden, Holly Harvey. And there was one more aspect that I wanted to touch on before we went to the break, as it relates to early warning signs. You have something on your website that mentions auditory processing. Could you give a little bit of information as to what auditory processing actually is, please?
Yes. So auditory processing is the way the brain processes all the sounds that you hear. So dyslexia is a brain difference, and a lot of times they hear things different than what was actually said. So the auditory processing is a part that we work on when we get to the part where we start, helping students and fixing it. Right.
Okay. Makes perfect sense. So now, early literacy, you stress the importance of reading to babies and toddlers. And could you give us some examples as to why you think that's so important and how it can help?
So we have a QR code, and we have actually a video posted on our website. And it's one of the people that are on our board, Pam Ertles. She's a teacher. And basically, we put all of those facts into a quick video for parents, because the amount that a child, especially a baby's brain, grows is very significant from 0 to 5. So they actually recommend you start reading to your baby in utero, because the brain starts recognizing language, right? And so the more you read, the more you're introducing higher vocabulary and sounds and facial recognition. The more you play with your baby and pay attention and work with them. Books are really just a tool that we use and that parents could use to help with those interactions with their children, right? So, but it really helps develop their brain, is what any child, whether they have dyslexia or not. And our hope is that everybody can start some of the early literacy strategies by reading to their children. It's never too late to get started. And then it will lead to them looking for those early warning signs, because then you'll be like, earlier, oh, my child can't make that sound. That's interesting. And then you can start watching as a parent. Oh, maybe they're auditory, they're not hearing it. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute, that's 2 out of the 3 indicators, or, there's multiple indicators of dyslexia. But our hope is that the earlier exposure to the books and the brain development, the earlier the detection.
So. Great. Well, you also have a segment on your website that says reading with your child, 1 to 18 months. And could you give us some of the tips of how-tos, whys, and the wherefores on that aspect of it?
Yes. So we want it to be a sweet time, actually, between you and your child. So very loving and playful. Lots of songs, rhyming, things like that, which is where the books will come in. The nursery rhymes and playing with the sounds. I don't know if you remember Barney the Purple Dinosaur, those old shows on TV. All those crazy songs he would sing. We want to be singing those to our children. We want to have that playtime and take them to the grocery store and have them pointing to the fruits and saying what they are. And you know what I'm saying? Because that vocabulary is what we're going to use to build upon once they come to school. So we need that there. And so the nursery rhymes, things like that. And then just the difference in words like big and little and just playing with them, all of those different things. It's such important interaction for them to attach to their parents anyways, that you can use the books as a tool to then help you, play with them and give you ideas and topics to talk about.
Yes. Great. Well, we're going to put up some books that you have out there that you want us to share. And there's a list of them. And these are obviously books that have been selected. Who researched the books and how were they selected? And then we'll go through them a little bit one by one.
Okay, so basically there's a group of us that get together when we go to buy books for our book bundles, and we're all teachers. And we select the books based on a couple of different things. So for example, Baby Cakes is a book listed, and it's a play off of Patty Cake, right? Interacting with the child. So we thought that's a great one because the parents will know and help them. And the next one is Black and White, and the colors, it's basically teaching some colors, and that's just important for kids to know the different colors. And I mean, hey, this would help you determine if your child is colorblind or not. I don't know. They're just really super fun books that we enjoy as teachers. But here they are specifically intentional. We picked them up intentionally. So Brown Bear, What Do You See is a pattern book. And when we can get those those patterns in and the kids to remember the different patterns, it helps them later to recognize rhyme and have fun, Brown Bear, what do you see? And then they can repeat it, and you can play games, turn it into a game, and it's super fun. Farm, of course, that's just vocabulary exposure for the farm animals and making sure they know what a duck is. What does the duck say? All of those things that we teach our kids. Sometimes I don't think we realize that we just automatically were doing that as parents and that our parents did that for us. Some of our parents that are new, and maybe our younger parents as well, they don't realize that these are things we want to make sure the kids come to school knowing, right? And in preschool, they do a big emphasis on the farm animals and the sounds and stuff like that. I Kissed the Baby by Mary Murphy is just a game to, that intimacy you can have with your child where you're kissing and hugging and showing affection. Affection is very important for the brain in these stages so that the child knows that they feel safe and that they're loved, right? So those are all promoted in there. I See is almost like the I Spy game, where you start working on describing words and things like that. So some kids need to be taught. And that goes along with like facial expressions, brown curly hair, stuff like that. Like we want to make sure they have those words and vocabulary to use, right? Which is the same with Look. And then My First Mother Goose. Those are all of those rhyming, right? It seems crazy. I remember in kindergarten, before it was so academic, I'm probably going to date myself here, but that was part of what was on our little kindergarten diploma, right? All the nursery rhymes that you memorized. Well, the reason why they taught them to us is because there's rhyme, right? And the vocabulary and things like that. It's very important. And I know for teachers, when I was working with teachers closely, don't stop teaching nursery rhymes. They're so good for us to be able to use that to refer back to. Like, oh, do you remember little Jack Horner who sat in the corner, or whatever? And a lot of times the kids will be like, what? No, who's that? Itsy Bitsy Spider? What are you talking about? I'm like, what? We got to teach you the song and the hand movements. And that's all so good for their brain. So we want to keep nursery rhymes in there.
It makes perfect sense, Holly, what you're saying. Perfect.
Yeah. Sense. Yeah. And then Orange Pear, Apple Bear. Again, there's those songs, if you go to the grocery store, apples and bananas, apples and bananas. It's playing with the sounds that are going to help with those connections in the brain. That's what we want. And then 10 tiny tickles, that's just their little toes. It's counting, bringing in numbers, kind of like this little piggy went to the market, but it's in a book, right?
Yeah.
And we're hoping parents are snuggled with their children, touching their little toes, getting the giggles in there. It's that parental interaction that we really want to focus on, because it helps that brain shoot off the positive, dopamine and all of that in there, that helps them go, wait, reading is fun. Wait, vocabulary is something I'm interested in.
Yeah.
This is good. My
Well,
parents love me,
for sure. And you mentioned that some of these like nursery rhymes, you should be singing these songs and reading the
Yeah.
nursery. You have something on your website too about the importance of reading aloud. Do you want to elaborate just a little bit on that, the importance of reading aloud?
Well, and that is why one of the books that we pick is usually a really beautiful picture book. And it's that exposure to the vocabulary that you will find in these really literacy rich books. The beginning parts of a story. And when you're reading aloud with your child, sitting next to them, yes, in the beginning of the story, yeah, these are called characters. Like right now, I teach 8th grade English. And so this is a far cry, but from what I'm used to, because I'm used to doing, singing songs with the preschoolers. But anyways, and we're still talking about the main character. What happened in the beginning, the middle, the end? The beginning is now called the exposition, where the author is establishing, right, the characters, the setting. We want parents to start talking with their kids about that. So a lot of schools will bring parents in and they'll educate you. And I used to give my parents a little bookmark with all of those questions on there to make sure that when you're working with your child, you can kind of, oh, so what do you think? Because we get so busy and we're professionals. Most parents are working, okay, in our society. And so we get in our own thing. We forget that we could be talking to our kids about books. And so they could look at the, and be like, oh, what's the setting? Who is this about? Yeah, that's called the character. So even at an early age, kids will start picking up on that vocabulary and language that you don't find anywhere else but in books.
No, that's true. That's very true. Stay with us. We're going to take another brief sponsorship break. We'll be right back, folks.
Budget deficits, national debt, presidential elections, government shutdowns, global conflicts in Europe, global conflicts in the Middle East, global pandemics, interest rates, rising inflation. Markets go up and markets go down for reasons nobody can control. Don't let the volatility of the stock market determine the quality of your retirement. Your financial strategy can make all the difference. I'm Joshua Dowden. At Priority Wealth Partners, your goals are our goals. We believe people can live better lives with smart financial education and knowledge. We work closely with clients to match strategy with individual needs. Our personal financial strategies have helped investors accomplish their goals while reducing market volatility, and we can help you too. You've worked hard to get where you are now. Your financial plan should work hard for you in retirement. Conveniently located in downtown Summerlin, my name's Joshua Dowden. Call me today for a free consultation, 702-808-6513. That's 702-808-6513.
Country roads take me home to the place where I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama. Here comes a triple yodel.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. And I'd like to welcome back our guest from Minden, Holly Harvey, with the Dyslexia program. You touched earlier in the program on this book bag program that you have. Could you tell us what the book bag program is and how often you have it?
Yes. So we get together, and actually, I have one right here. We've printed up these bags. We call them book bundles, but it's a bag. And in them, we put at least 5 books. And then we put 2 flyers in the beginning. And one of them is the importance of reading to your child from, baby to birth to 5. And actually, the reading specialist in me is going to come out. You should read with your child even through high school. I did this with my child, and even though it may have been painful for him, it just transitions into like a book club style.
Mhm.
And then it was fabulous to be able to talk to him about those books. And you find out your kids are pretty cool, actually, because you're like, gosh, what would you do? Anyway, okay. So in here is why the importance of reading to your child and some suggested books and things like that. The other thing is the early signs of dyslexia. And then this is the QR code that I mentioned. It's also on our website. We wanted it to be easy for parents. And since dyslexia is hereditary, if the parent maybe couldn't read this brochure, surely they could zip that QR code and listen to the video and watch the video. So that's why we have that on there. And the video talks about the importance of reading to your child and some of the early signs of dyslexia. So that's what's in the book bag. Now we put these together, and we, as educators, we were like, when and where and how can we give these out? What we decided is to tap into some of our pediatricians. And because we're dealing with babies, right? Newborns. So we talked with a pediatrician friend of ours and asked, when's the best time? Like that you could give these away for us and that, experience this. And the pediatrician we talked to was Dr. Smokey out of Carson Medical Group. And she suggested the second well baby checkup because the mom's body is getting back to normal and she's not as stressed out and she'll understand, right? And the parents can look at this and then they'll take these books, they'll zing the QR code and hopefully spend the time and start reading with their baby. And, it's for everyone. We didn't want this to just be for low socioeconomic families. We want them to get one too. But for example, my sister, her and her husband had their first baby. She's a teacher. Both of them are college graduates. And they didn't think to read to their baby. And so the first thing we did was give them a bag and say, start reading to your baby. She was 2 months old. And they were living overseas and they came to the United States. And boy, we just gave them all these books and said, it's never too late. Start reading to that baby. So, it's for everybody. It doesn't matter. It's just, let's get the books in there.
But get the books in hand. And
oh, yeah.
So what area do you cover when you're giving out these books? What geographical area are you covering it?
So we started just covering Minden because we got a grant from a specific foundation that only they are geographical and they wanted them to stay in Minden. That was one of the requirements of the grant. So some of them did go to Carson City. Now we are expanding because I have moved to Central Nevada, the heart of Nevada, Lovelock. And I'm going to be doing our next campaign is to make some more book bags, but to distribute here into more rural areas because I really have learned, my husband's job brought us here, and I've really learned there is a need in the more rural, not just the school districts and the schools that need the books, but the community. We don't realize, and actually Lovelock's considered a frontier community. That's how small it is. It's small. Very tiny. So there's quite a need there. So our campaign that we're doing right now, which is just taking donations on our website, is going directly towards making another, slew of making these books. And you'll see on the website, there's pictures of the last time we donated. I think we've done over 500 book bundles. But in that picture on the website, we had just given 150 book bundles, and we were hauling them up to the, pediatrician's office. And that was the only way we could think to find all the babies being born, We were like, what do we do? I don't know. So
Well, you're getting you're getting them out there, so that's the main thing. And
yeah,
500.
and we did make some Spanish ones. So we're still working on expanding and having a brochure be in Spanish, and some of the books be in Spanish as well. So
Nice,
side notes, we did
nice.
try that.
Nice. So you're expanding the program and the geographical location as well. Good for you. And now you have a scholarship program. Do you want to talk a little bit about your scholarship program before we?
Yes. Oh my gosh, this is probably one of my most favorite parts of what we do. And we offer scholarships to students who have struggled to learn to read and with dyslexia specifically. So we do ask that they write like an essay answering a question. So we believe that dyslexic students have what's called grit, right? So they persevere. And even though it is hard to read, and they figure it out. Like, they're so smart. They learn to listen to books on tape, which I do as an adult. So anyway, they end up surviving academically. But a lot of times our dyslexic kids do not perform as well on tests. And a lot of scholarships, having 2 adult children now that have survived high school, require a specific GPA or test score. And so we are targeting, and our scholarships do not require a 4.0 or 3.5. We do require 2.75. We want them to have some academic success and strong plans. And then we ask them to write an essay about what their plans are and how they struggle with dyslexia. So we can usually tell from their essay if they really have dyslexia or not, because there's been a few kids apply and they're like, oh, this and that, and then we're just like, they're not dyslexic. Like, we can kind of tell, right? So,
Well, you've got personal knowledge, so
yeah. And then we like to also support kids that are going to trade schools, because a lot of our dyslexic kids are hands-on learners. And so we have awarded several scholarships to kids that go on to different kinds of tech schools, that, whether it be mechanics or hairstylists, or, we want to be able to support them. And we don't feel like scholarships should be saved just for going to UNR or, a regular academic. Now, they can do that as well. So that's what we do. We've given a few homeschoolers scholarships. We have given Carson City, Minden, and we will be hopefully expanding to some rural towns soon. But again, we do need to either apply for more grants or get some more donations to be able to continue the work that we're trying to do. So,
and now there's, I'm assuming there's a donate button on your website, correct?
Yes, there sure is.
Okay, well, at this point in time, could you give out your website information and your phone number where people can get in touch with you and go to your website, learn more about the organization and your donate button?
Absolutely. So again, the name of our nonprofit is Literacy Solutions of Nevada. The number where you can get information is 775-790-2690. We are on Instagram and Facebook. Facebook is just Literacy Solutions of Nevada. Instagram is LitSolveNV on Instagram. And then our website is just a Google Sites. So it's just Google Sites, Literacy Solutions, NV, and home. If you Google it, it should come up as an option. Other than that, if you look us up on Facebook, there's a link, or Instagram, there's links that directly link you to our website.
Okay, sounds good. And one final question: do you have any upcoming fundraisers?
We were in the middle of planning a family run walk, and we ended up having to not move forward with that because of me relocating and things like that. So we're hoping to plan something like that soon, to get where families can get together. And we really want to focus on bringing that relationship with parents and kids, and so where they can do like a run walk 5K or something. And then at the end, we'll have book bundles for all the families. And then, things like that. So we're working on that. We don't have a date as of right now. So right now we're just hoping the donate button can help
Well,
us out. And then we're
well,
looking for grants. So if you know of a grant that, please let us know so we can apply, because we would love to do that.
okay. Holly, thank you so much for taking time out today and sharing what you're doing for people living with dyslexia. It's not a fun thing to have, that's for sure. And appreciate all your knowledge, your expertise. You're doing yeoman work there, you truly are. So thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. And I'd like to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in today. If you know of anybody who has dyslexia who could benefit from this organization, would like to volunteer, or certainly like to donate, please share this interview with them. I'd also like to thank our show's producer, John Stiles, for producing the show and allowing me to host this program on it. And finally, I'd like to thank our sponsors. We would not have the show without those who sponsor the program. Their Priority Wealth Partners, Pacific Coast Capital, the Firelight Barn, and my business partner, RJ Champion, and also the Friends of the Gift of Giving. These are donors who have donated to the program but wish to remain anonymous, and I certainly thank them for their support. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me, Stephen at thegiftofgiving.vegas. I would love to hear from you, and I hope you'll join us again next week. In the meantime, please stay safe, be kind to one another, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Mr. RJ Champion is proud to sponsor WWDBTV's series, The Gift of Giving, and wishes the program much success. Congratulations and gratitude to the featured guests and the organizations they represent. Our community is well served by your tireless efforts to make Nevada a better state for all its residents.